this one. Okay, now they should be able to hear us.
I hear you. I hear the...
There we go. Sometimes Streamlabs likes to do this fucking thing where it's like, yeah, you know that audio input you had? It no longer exists. So
why would you want a mic?
Why would you want it there? Who cares? So, yeah, again, hi everybody. I see both Liams in the chat. Bam Bam Kian. Hello everybody. Thanks for showing up. How's everybody's Friday going?
Yes.
That's what I asked. That's pretty much exactly what I said before.
Yep. I said, how's everyone's... Go back on mute.
Fuck off, Liam.
Neon Climber.
Lauren Ann. Kasha. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are we doing? Happy Friday. I know for a lot of you it's very late Friday. Thank you for being with us anyways as we drink our coffee at 9:30 in the morning.
Aw. Kian, did you have a big week?
He stayed up until 3 in the morning last night, and I was around for it, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 9:30 in the morning. We're just getting our days started. So.
Good day so far. Glad to hear it.
I'm glad to
Thank
hear
you for
it.
the follow, Pokey Donut. We appreciate it.
Yes. So, first things first, you guys love to do this to us anyways. We got a new food box! I'm scared of it. Immediately. There's a rice cake on top. I'm immediately terrified. But it is going in the bag of mystery. So.
Oh, Kian, you are so quick, man.
Kian has too many points. I need to up that. I need to up that because this is torture. Okay. Let me just dump this in. Empty box. Okay, I really hope I don't hit the camera with this. I'm aiming for between the camera and the light.
Nice.
I did it.
Good job.
Shake up our bag. All right. Well, I hope you're feeling for something sweet. Oh, I grabbed two things.
Moment of truth.
Okay, well, do you want the white chocolate or I can't even pronounce that?
Harvey?
I was trying to. Oh, that's caramel. I was just saying caramel.
Well, I mean, I'll share them with you if you want.
All right, we'll do a splitsies.
Splitsies.
Kasha, thank you for the follow.
Another bag of mystery.
Well, that's good because I grabbed two things, so fuck
Perfect.
off. I hate white chocolate though, and this is white chocolate. I hate white chocolate, coconut, and hazelnut. This is all of those. So.
Oh my goodness, you're not even kidding. It is all of those.
It is literally all of those. So let's just get it over with.
Oh man.
Oh God, here.
Thank you. Would you like a napkin?
Yeah, well, I already broke white chocolate all over my keyboard. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hey Dennis, how you doing? I want to die.
Okay.
Oh.
It's got like the coconut flakes on the outside. It is hollow, which is kind of unique.
God.
Is it? It's so good. She gave me the whole thing. I feel so loved. She's gonna let me get rid of that later.
Yeah, you can have it. Oh my God. Oh, it won't go away.
There's some lemon preservative in there too.
Yeah.
That's not.
It's not good.
You guys-
It's not good. It's not. It's not. Okay, well, let me clean this off my keyboard. Anyways, you guys know we have a special guest today, too.
Yes, we are so excited. Some of you already know.
Please take over.
Know him so much.
I'm not okay.
And to some of you, we are so happy to introduce our new friend Luke. And he comes to us with a wide background, an array of areas of expertise. So I'm going to just, without further ado, we're just going to bring him on and let him
Here we are, broad discussions. Can you not? There we go. Good morning, America. Good evening, Britain. We are here, and I am so excited to be on broad discussions. Let's go! I am the hype. I am drinking cherry Coke at the moment. It's Friday evening. I would have gone for a cup of tea, good British tea, but I have no milk in the house at the moment, so it's cherry Coke to get the night started. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
There's like the thinnest amount of caramel in here. I'm sorry,
You're gonna
Luke.
do a pull apart? Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes. This is a perfect segue to Luke. I just have to ask. We over here in the States have quite a divide in conversation. So I'm just gonna put you on the hot seat. You're in the hot seat now with this question. Do you put ketchup on your grilled cheese? Do you
No.
dip your grilled cheese in ketchup?
No, that's not okay. No.
Didn't I-
Don't lump us Americans into that garbage. That is not, no. That is not a popular thing in the U.S.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
No!
Yeah.
No!
Sorry, Ellie, but that's gotta do what you gotta do.
How about your
Point for Hillary.
No! That's... I'm just going to shut up and eat my cookie.
Do you like this one?
Oh, not bad.
Is it really good? Yes. So how about French fries? Do you like to dip French fries in ketchup or?
Yeah, I like to vary it up. I do like a bit of mayonnaise on there. It depends on the thickness. If they're nice and thick, you gotta go mayonnaise. But if they're nice and thin, you gotta go with ketchup. That's my rule of thumb.
My dirty mind just... I'm just going to...
Say nothing.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah. Well, I have to say that even over here, if most of the time, if you didn't grow up with grilled cheese and ketchup, people will say they will do grilled cheese in tomato soup.
That's more normal. That's normal.
And I would do both. So whatever, you know.
Patrick. Oh, Hillary. Ah!
We might have lost the friendship.
We're coming up on our friendiversary. How dare you?
And I have to correct myself. I got thinking about that. We've just known each other 2 years. I thought it was 3, but
I thought it was
2. Can you believe that? Because
How about we both wrong?
We had. I thought you were sweet and just weren't, gonna be like Hillary, calling you out.
You guys carry on. I'm here for this. I'm just carry
We're
on.
just gonna battle it out here. Never mind us. Dennis says, I hate to yuck your yum, but hell no. Thank you, Dennis. I hate to yuck on anybody's yum on anything, but no, it is not okay.
So Luke,
Yes.
you already know I'm going to talk to you about radio, but maybe
Yeah.
let's back up. Let's back up. I don't know, as far as you want to go. Where you can start. Where were you born? Were you born in England? Like where? We can go all the way back.
How much are you willing to share? You want to share your social, your credit card information, your mother's maiden name?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Whatever you would like to share with us, we will take it.
Okay.
But if you have some milestone moments along your childhood that kind of pointed you in the direction of talking with people, did you feel that, or was that something that you've come to as an adult?
Okay, so I was born and raised in a little place called Luton, England. It's just north of London, arguably better than London. Don't let anybody else tell you anything else about Luton other than it's one of the greatest places known to humankind. I grew up in Luton, and I had high functioning autism and ADHD, and for me, education was difficult because I was always that kid. I was always that kid that was labelled, stood out like a sore thumb. But I love to talk to people. I always like to engage with people as much as I can and find out about people, because at the end of the day, there's nothing more satisfying in life than connecting with another person and learning from them. It goes back thousands of years to the Greeks and the Romans, that we all learn from one another on a human level. So for me to sort of go through education and to struggle through engaging with people, some people thought I was different. I just thought I was me, and I was just born to be different. And people want to agree or disagree with that, then that's on them. So there was that. Then sort of fast forward quite a few years, I went to University of Bedfordshire, which is just literally in Luton as well, so I decided to stay home. and decided to study broadcast journalism because for me, I loved I love the media. I love TV, radio, online. Um, there's nothing better for me to read a good article or a good feature or to hear a good radio program because again it's that human interaction of reading what somebody else has produced and seeing what angle they've taken and establishing a view and an opinion from that, whether you whether you agree with it or not, that's then for you to decide, but you've got to credit what work has gone in to produce that piece of work. So I studied broadcast journalism at uni, and in the first week there, I got involved with the student radio station called Radiolab 97.1 FM. And from there, Walsh Weekly was born. I always had a little demo, and for 4 years I've been on air now, into the 5th year of broadcasting. Every Sunday between 12 and 2, 12 till 3 on every Sunday lunchtime has been my home. So that's sort of how I've become the radio nut that I am now. So
wow.
So yeah.
Did you say 5 years every Sunday?
5th year of broadcasting, yeah.
Oh
October will be my 5-year anniversary.
Wow. Congratulations, just on that. Just the dedication you need to do something and be in your 5th year of doing it. That's awesome.
It's been a roller coaster, but life is a roller coaster. You've just got to ride it from the front, and you've got to enjoy it. You've got to take every opportunity you can to go. There are going to be highs and lows, but you're going to ride it through.
I'm writing that down. That's a good
Hillary's quote of the day. We're talking about canned food in chat too. Completely different subject.
I can see, as I was telling my life story, just canned food along the side. Just completely irrelevant to what I'm saying. I love it. I love the chat. I love you guys. I love Pogo and Liam and everyone else in chat. You guys are the best.
I was like, you know why we put everything in a can? So it's easier to ship across the fucking country, because it's got to go a long ways for us. So you guys don't have to worry about that. So we do. But anyways,
wow. And also, I'm really just moved that you had to overcome so much of I don't know, would you call it a learning setback to be?
Yeah.
How did you so when I hear you talk about it now, you are very empowered, and you're like, I'm going to move forward with this despite this. It doesn't sound like you're not letting it hold you back. How did you get to that mindset instead of holding on to maybe a victim mindset, or why me?
So just throughout, I guess, primary school and high school, it was very much I stood out like a sore thumb because I'd be the one who'd have extra learning support. I'd be the one that my grades would be monitored more than most students would, and for me, I just got, when you're growing up like that and have that sort of, I'm trying not to apply too much of my sociological know-how here, but it's the self-fulfilling prophecy, is that the label of I'm always going to be different, I'm always going to stick out in any academic setting. It fucks with your head, because you're constantly thinking, oh, I'm just going to stand out wherever I'm at in college or work or any opportunity. I'm just going to be that one candidate, that one person that's just going to be either hired either because of their disability or discriminated and not given the job for not based on merit whatsoever. It's solely based on who I am and the diagnosis that I have. So when I came to university, though, it was the first sort of opportunity where the chains were off. I had an opportunity where I was an individual. I could learn for myself. I could make mistakes. I made plenty of mistakes. Ask ZRVK. I made plenty of mistakes, but those were my mistakes. They were my merited mistakes that I made along the way to learn on my path. For the first time, I wasn't being held back for my disability. This was Luke Anthony Walsh. This wasn't the disabled student. This was me, and it's what you learn about life is that it's I said it before, it is a roller coaster, but you've got to own that. You make your own mistakes, but you learn from them. And when I've had years and years of education and my mistakes being blamed on me and being blamed for my behaviour and my and I guess my intellectual growth, I guess, is that that isn't me. That isn't me who on a day-to-day basis. Actually, these are the mistakes that I'm going to make because that's who I am. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
And so you felt that shift in when you went to university. And how old are you? Were you about 16? Were you about 16 when you went to university?
Was I 18?
Oh, 18.
18?
Okay.
18, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because your school, just as a refresher for myself and anyone else who wants it, you have
just as an FYI, there are practically none of our U.S. citizens, our normal U.S. citizens, they did not show up today.
So it's just a refresher for me. Okay. After you get through mandatory schooling at age 15, you have like
16, yeah.
16, and what's the next thing that you can do? It's like something before university.
So I went from studying at high school, did my GCSEs. I'm not really sure what the American equivalent is. I then went on to do A levels.
That's it.
Which are insane. Like some A levels genuinely are harder than university degrees, and the problem with the education system is this: is that the problems I had, growing up with autism and being in an educational environment with autism, is that the education system will put you in a box. Is that they'll limit your progress and you can't go outside of that box. You can only stay within the range that you are put in. And so when you're trying to study difficult subjects, so I ended up studying A-level media and A-level sociology. So I'm understanding about representation and audience analysis and further deep study. They can only give you that box. They don't go, right, so here's how you get out of that box and how you expand your knowledge. It's, okay, we're looking for this criteria. We're looking for A, B, C, D, come an exam. But when I did a year of that, I moved on to a vocational college. I then did a more practical course. Again, same sort of limitations as to what I could do. And then, September 2016, decided to go to university on the foundation year of my course. And immediately I knew I was home. I knew I was in a place where, right, I'm going to make every second count here. This is my opportunity to stand up and, make a name for myself. I had a chat with the course leader. So look, this is the knowledge that I bring. Will you let me, have a go at the undergraduate course? And she said, yeah, fine. So I where my education I'd been set back a year. You got accrued X amount of points to do undergraduate. I basically skipped a year inside a week. So where I was meant to do a 4-year course for my main bachelor's degree. I did it in 3 as natural as it is, and then I spent the 4th year just doing my master's on top of that as well. So it's not bad.
Way to make the most of your time.
You also rushed your bachelor's.
I was going to, but I ended up taking 4 years.
Oh.
My sister did, though.
Right. I remember us talking about that, and I was like, because I rushed mine, so yeah.
And it's so great if you have the discipline to do it, and somebody, and like encouragement or somebody to tell you, like, it is worth the pain. Like,
you can do it. You can make it through it.
Yes.
And
But ultimately, you've got to do what you love. Like for me, doing broadcast journalism, I was getting to do, news reports, online. I get to do, TV news bulletins, radio bulletins. I was doing the things that I loved as a child and wanted to be. And there's no better feeling for a human being, in their educational career when they finally get the opportunity to do the passion that they love. And it's a rare gem. A lot of students need to recognize that they need to hone in on that more and recognize that actually they should follow their dreams, not just do a degree that will get them this job or this salary. It's actually do what you love. That's my second sort of motto to bring it. Don't forget about money, forget about everything else. Do what you love.
Yeah,
And
coming from somebody who got a mathematics and accounting degree, can't relate.
Big up accounting!
So, like, I know there's a bunch of us in chat that all went for accounting, and I know that none of us really love it, right? Like, we don't just love numbers. We're like, I'm here for the dough, and I'ma leave. Like, that's how we are, which is, and in our spare time, we end up doing stuff we love, obviously. We make it work somehow, but, yeah, it's just one of those things.
Well, even, I feel like a job is a job. There's always, I know that the expression, find the job you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But then I hear people that are doing what they love, they still have those really difficult days. So, yeah.
But that's more fun. That like, surely doing what you love and having difficult days, that's a challenge. Life isn't easy. Life isn't just going to be one straight long road for you. So to have challenges in the way makes you think, makes you a better person, makes you, a more experienced person. You've got to have those days where you're doing a council report, in the pouring rain. You've got to have those days where, you are dealing with a difficult murder case to report on. But then you have those days, and you have some days where you're doing a feature in the sun. You're doing days where you get to go to the beach and have a laugh. Like those, that is what you've got to realise. And I think for me, certainly with my broadcasting career, is that, I've had to do difficult interviews. I've had to interview people who I may not necessarily have been interested in. But I also have days where I get to interview people who I've idolised for years and get to know them on a one-to-one basis and have them give me work opportunities and give them work experience and internships and opportunities that I would never have dreamt of receiving 5-10 years ago. So take the ups and the downs.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, it's too quiet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, don't mind me. I'm just messing with technology, trying to make sure.
Yeah, I noticed we look a little dark. I might brighten this up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Just
fine tuning.
Yeah. Anyways,
I felt like when Luke was talking about that the moment when you're looked at for your own merits and not just seen as like a stereotype of
or
something.
as a diagnosis.
Yeah. Did you have? I don't know. I felt like
I could definitely relate to that. As a person growing up with generalized anxiety disorder and not being diagnosed until my mid-teens, I was definitely looked at like the crazy person. Like I was different, and but I also I loved academics. I loved learning. I loved reading. So like I was the outcast in the sense where I was excelling and I was segregating myself because I didn't fit in. I didn't fit into a part of it. And when I finally, when I graduated high school with my associate's degree, with my 2-year, I finally felt like I got to say, oh yeah, I did this and I'm not such an outcast. I'm not such, I'm not the weirdo here. And I'm going to be successful. And that was something that it made me feel like I wasn't my diagnosis. And there are a few times in my life where I get to say that because a diagnosis does tend to rule our lives. Obviously, I openly talk about mental health quite a bit. And it's really difficult to be in between that I'm working on my diagnosis and it's not all of me, or that's all people see of me. So it's difficult, and I completely understand that and could definitely relate when you were like, this is my time. I am not this. I get to be me. So
let me provide a counter argument to that point. Is that you and I are both the same age, Ellie, and we're both obviously we grew up on two sides of the Atlantic, but universally speaking, that the understanding and approach to mental health has never been greater now than it's ever been. And we're still learning further. And we've come, stratospheric yards to understanding mental health and understanding learning disabilities as a whole. Certainly for myself, is that, it's unconfirmed within my family that my autism came from my dad. Now, my dad died when I was 10 years old. I didn't know him, but I guess we can discuss that sort of later in the interview. But, for me, recognizing that, in the 60s and 70s when my dad grew up, is that autism wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing where you could go to the doctors and be diagnosed. You were thrown into asylums.
Yeah.
That's how nuts, the society has come forward. 50 years ago, if you were mentally challenged or you were difficult, you were locked up. Now here we are in 2021, and we're being trained on how to support mental health. Just ignore all the politics and what we've had. That is a stratospheric achievement in humanity. The fact that we can now acknowledge that people are different. It's okay not to be okay, and ultimately we're here to support one another. We need to be nicer.
And that's a big part of it is we've come so far. There is still a long ways to go, as always, it seems, with anything that surrounds humans in general. Just, but that's part of it is that there's so many things that are being normalized and being made aware of and stuff like that. And there are so many things that still aren't. And so it's like, we're in that space where, we look back and we're like, wow, we're so much different than we used to be as societies and as a whole. Where we have to go is so much further. How long is it going to take? That's the next question, is how long is it going to take to get there? It's in our grasp, though,
isn't it? Like, if NASA can put another rover on Mars yesterday evening, then we can grasp even further yards to the acceptance and the understanding of mental health within us all. I think the generation that's growing up today are going to have the most amount of support that they're ever going to have.
That's true. That's very true. Mm-hmm. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just a lighthearted one. We like to ask our guests. So, if you had to pick between the U.S. version of The Office or Parks and Rec, do you have a favorite?
The Office or Parks and Rec? Yeah. Ooh. See, I binged on both during lockdown.
Nice.
And they're both just superb literature and pieces of media performance. It's gotta be The Office. Just
damn
it! It's gotta be The Office.
We've had
at least Steve Carell. Yes. Because as a fan of the UK Office with Ricky Gervais and Mackenzie Crook and
oh no,
and the cast that in 2002, The Office was first in the UK. It ran for 12 episodes, I believe. Somebody quote me wrong in chat, but that series is gold. And then the way that Steve Carell ran with it in the US, making it the hit that it is, and it's just so funny. It pushed boundaries. Yes. It's a format that shouldn't work but really did, and there's no better way to binge on a Saturday afternoon than a couple episodes of the US Office.
Damn it! So we literally have like a running tally of guests who have selected one or the other, and I'm Parks and Rec, and she's Office.
I like both.
I know.
But
I know.
I feel like Office is a little harder to get into. There's a little bit more of
I agree. Like if you don't understand what's going on, then you'll just see the clips online and find it funny. But actually, when you understand the premise and understand the characters and understand that the interwoven storylines between each episode and each series is amazing, just amazing.
I read somewhere it was an article talking about that the show becomes basically a homage or a love letter to not Jim and Pam or not Steve Carell's character, not it's the office itself, it's the workplace, it's that
exactly.
Would you agree with that? Okay.
The environment.
Yeah. Okay.
I still prefer Parks and Rec. I don't care. I don't. You can't tell me that Leslie's not the best boss. I love her. I love her too much. So, yeah. Anyways.
Okay. So we'll dive back in. What I do not know who the In-Betweeners.
I've never seen
Oh my god, the In-Betweeners. Oh, it's a coming of age UK sitcom.
Oh.
Which you watch around 16, 17, where it's what I love about UK comedy is that there is shows that you watch at certain times in your life, and the In-Betweeners is your early college years in sixth form. it's coming of age, and it's just a huge laugh. And they tried to bring it over to the US. It didn't work. There's only certain formats that will work in the UK that won't work in the US. They tried it with the IT Crowd, another excellent comedy in the UK, which doesn't work in the US. Similarly, there's shows in the US that wouldn't work in the UK. Family Feud, for example, doesn't quite work in the same way in the UK. I'm trying to think what else. The Price is Right. It doesn't work too well anymore in the UK.
Do game shows not work in the UK? Like, those are like the basis of our game shows, like right there.
No, but it's American. Jeopardy wouldn't work in the UK because it just wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense in UK society.
Really?
That's amazing. That seems crazy to me, of course, but like all I can think of is Family Feud with the newest host.
Okay.
And
I don't even
him
know
saying they say the most inappropriate things now. When I was a kid watching it growing up, when you were sick and you were staying home from school and that was the only thing on TV, like when I was watching it growing up, it was so appropriate and stiff and rigid, and now it is literally the funniest bullshit you will ever fucking hear. Like, Steve Harvey is unreal with it. It is amazing. Don't watch the one with the Kardashians. It's lame as fuck. Anyways, it's overrated. Smoleo, hi! So happy to see you here.
Hello.
Yeah, we haven't seen the In-Betweeners. Apparently the US one was shit, as we keep seeing in chat. I have no idea
it's worth VPNing and checking out. And one more series I will recommend to you guys, Father Ted. Coming from an Irish background myself, I argue is one of the funniest comedies ever made in the UK. Okay. It's about three priests in the west of Ireland, quite near to where my family grew up, and it's just if I have to send over the box set to you guys, I will. It's that damn funny.
Aw, that means a lot.
That is good to know.
We'll see where we might be able to stream that.
We can VPN it. I got you. Don't you worry.
Thank goodness for VPN.
Thank goodness for legal action. I mean, what? I'm not advising this. I am not the counsel of illegal things. I seem to be the counsel of illegal things all the time on here. I'm trying not to be.
That's not your intent.
I'm not telling you how to vandalize. I'm not telling you how to hide a body. We're not doing that. So, anyways.
Okay, well, I would love to hear when you came to Twitch. Like when you first heard of it, if you remember that, when you joined, and then when you started streaming.
Okay, so Twitch is a funny thing, isn't it?
Oh, truly.
I've always been a YouTuber sort of kind of thing. I was YouTube generation. Like Twitch is still a fairly new thing. It's remarkable to say. So I obviously knew ZRVK from university, and
you don't have to call him by his rap name. That's the joke we made. ZRVKK makes him sound like a rapper. You can call him Liam here.
Liam. Just even I don't understand ZRVK. Like, I don't know what in his magnificent brain thought ZRVK is a good name for a streamer name. But hey, so anyway, we've been knowing each other for quite a while, and we're quite good friends. And I found out about Dare December. I don't know whether you remember that, Ellie, or him on social media doing a daft thing every day during December.
Oh, I thought, okay, yeah, I do remember how his hair got bleached. I'm pretty sure. With
himself in the freezing cold in December, and just doing it for no reason whatsoever. So we got talking. I was like, okay, what are you doing with yourself? And I'm like, I'm a Twitcher now. I was like, oh dear, oh dear. And immediately, because Liam is that addictive, I had to go check it out. And sadly, I'm now addicted. I need help. The way that he engages people and brings people together is what Liam does best. And he is a bit of a lad's lad, but on some days he's the most comforting human being you could chat to. Like it's nuts that I'm sort of swooning over him, but me and him have that sort of bromance. There was a summer a couple of years ago where I just finished my undergraduate degree. I was about to start my master's, and he was about to start. He was the president of the student union, and we just spent a couple of weeks together doing different things together. That we were hanging out more, and we were getting to know each other, and we realised that we had quite a close bond, and I'll never forget those couple of weeks because I never thought I'd get close to a guy like him. He drinks, he parties. You only need to see Wager Wenser to see the level of enthusiasm and energy he throws himself into. That is juxtaposed to the person that I am.
I think you mean insanity, but I mean continue.
Yeah, it's borderline insane. But the way we're so on two ends of the spectrum and yet are so close is how beautiful humanity is. And I love him to bits, and he's got me through some difficult times, and seeing him prosper and seeing him fly has been a true honor. And he's introduced me to a wonderful community, including you, wonderful human beings, and it's meant a lot, and especially at a time of lockdown. I said this a couple of weeks ago, is that we're so fortunate to live in 2021. Because we have technology to connect to one another and to be able to stay in touch and still have that connection that keeps us human. At another time, 50, 60 years ago, the technology wasn't there. It would be a different game altogether. So the way that he's brought people together in Discord and on Twitch 5 nights a week is a blessing. And I love him to bits, and I'll back him till the day I die, and most probably he'll be one of my groomsmen at my wedding. That's how much he means to me.
That's amazing. Speaking of that,
this is where Liam goes back and realizes how much I've said about him.
Yeah, he starts scrolling through the video. He's like,
"Hi, Liam. Hi."
He's like, are we in a relationship? Like, what did I miss here?
But I love that. I love that you use the expression lad, because we have had discussions over here about man's man and how that expression has changed in the American lexicon. But lad's lad, and the way you used it, is the way that I have always thought about it as a very high compliment. And so I just love hearing you use that expression. And I'm so glad that it's kind of like, like what you said. It's so great when you can come together from different sides of different points of view and still respect each other and have a close relationship. That's
what this whole entire thing was started on, is the foundation that Hillary and I are practically polar opposite human beings in our opinions, in how we behave, in how we were raised, everything down to a T. So coming together and showing in a time where everyone seemed to want to hate and fight and just have this animosity towards one another, coming together and showing that that's not how it has to be, how it really is, was something that we really wanted to do and have done to an extent. So yeah. Aw.
It's nuts. It's like you were saying off air about not talking about politics, but what we saw on Capitol Hill on my birthday, no less, was a scene that none of us wanted to see. That wasn't humanity.
Yeah.
That wasn't that was humans at a time where we should not be tearing down the walls and spreading hate. We spread love. I've been talking to quite a few my friends this week. There was a British celebrity called Caroline Flack, who passed away last year of suicide, and it really shook the British society in a way that no other celebrity has done. She left one amazing quote, and it's this: "In a world where you can be anything, be kind." And it's so true, it's so accurate, and anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. Certainly as a Christian myself, just come into Lent this week. I've decided to do 40 acts of random kindness, because if we spread kindness and spread love at a time like this, we will get through the worst of the storm. We will get through having a vaccine, and the world will come together as a nicer place than the last time we were able to go outside without a mask on. So
yes.
it's I sound so soppy right now. If you squeeze me like now, I would drip like a gallon of water. I'd be like SpongeBob having a bath. That would be how soppy I sound right now.
Yes.
No, it's
SpongeBob.
beautiful though,
Yes.
and it is so true. Is that coming together? Leprechaun, thank you for the subscription.
999 just subscribed.
I love hearing that bot try and say everyone's name. It's my favorite thing. So thank you for the subscription.
Yes.
Have courage to be kind. There are so many that just that are true, and your 40 acts of kindness is kind of inspiring. And a great thing to do. So kudos to you.
Yes.
The best ones are the ones that people don't expect. Like there's few that I've written down and I've planned that people won't expect, and seeing joy like that, where like you get to fuck with them, like they know that something is coming, but they don't know what it is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love the control. But yeah,
He's like mastermind, but in good things.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have
exactly like it's a feeling you only get at Christmas time or roughly around somebody's birthday, is that you can fuck with them and say, yeah, you've got something, but you don't know what it is. I'm gonna fuck you until the day, until you realize what it is. I'm gonna tease you. I'm gonna tease you.
Do you have one of your ideas that you would be willing to share with all of us? If you want to keep them all surprises, we totally understand.
I'll keep them surprises, but it can be anything though. That's the beauty of it. It can be something small. It can be huge. It could be, becoming a subscriber on a Twitch channel that could do the support. It's about becoming a follower. It's as simple as that. It's little things make such a huge difference, and we forget that in this world of magnitude. Like you guys live in America, in a world where. In a country that it is full of extravagance, that you see, somewhere like Los Angeles and New York and Chicago and places where the magnitude of a place can be overwhelming. But actually, think about doing the small things in those sort of places. It only takes a raindrop to fill an ocean. Do you know what I mean? It's about making an impact, and it doesn't about doing the biggest things or spending the most amount or going over the top. If you want to, great, like donate to charity or show your support to somebody. But if you can only do the small things, then that's cool too. That's the world we need to live in.
Yeah.
Doing anything is doing something, and it's better than doing nothing. So
Exactly.
that is the beauty of it. And that's the thing, is we come from a really small rural community where we don't have a lot of extravagance. There's not a lot of big nice things. There's not huge shiny buildings. There's not super nice houses or apartment complexes or anything like that here. We are just like a simple farming community, and it's kind of beautiful. Like, I was about to move to Chicago, and every time I came home after I was sorting all that stuff out, stressed out in Chicago, a busy fucking place, coming home was just this like silence and peace, and it's so beautiful. And the small things like that is so amazing. So yeah.
My family come from County Galway in Ireland, in Connemara, which is one of the most isolate and remote places in Ireland and in Western Europe. And I love to go back there now and again. And there's a range called the 12 Pins, which is essentially 12 mini mountains, shall we say? I don't know if they're classified as such, but the landscape around the area is it's breathtaking. It's somewhere that you can just meditate, you can reflect, you can really think about where you're at and where you want to go, and not have any distractions. Let's put it another way. We live in a world where, as we spoke about it before, about the positives, but in the negative sense, that we're connected at a touch of a button. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We can message anybody in the world in an instant. Let's take a step back and focus on ourselves rather than somebody else. Let's take a step back and focus on actually who we are as somebody else. Then to communicate that. It's nuts that technology can do that, but we haven't got to the point where we're being replaced by robots just yet. I don't think we ever will. But we have emotions, we have feelings, we have, we spoke about mental health earlier. We have good days and bad days. That's humanity at the end of the day. Um, and we need to stay on top of that. And if we take a step back now and again, and we recognize the world is a decent place, I'm in a good place, um, then we won't get too sucked in. You'll have a fresh level of appreciation for the tranquility of the world, and when you step back into the rush and the the empire and the magnitude of inner city life or on social media, you'll realize that sometimes getting into that Twitter argument isn't worth it. Sometimes getting into a heated debate with somebody isn't worth it, because at the end of the day you're just going to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You're just gonna knock heads and come to a stalemate. You're not going to achieve anything. So yeah. I sound like a proper sponge right now. I really do. This is
No,
wait, this really isn't me, but hey, I'm loving this.
no, you're doing great, Luke. We love it. So you can just blame us, which we're just bringing out this spongy side of you, I guess.
Yeah.
I would love to ask you though how you find the patience and the big-heartedness when you're interviewing people, or when actually maybe not even when in your job, when you're around family members or friends who are giving you opinions. How do you find the courage to not just come right back with your own opinion, and to kind of give them space for their opinion and just look at their opinion fully before entering into more of a dialogue, where society tells us right now, we're very I'll say my opinion, and I'm gonna.
I guess it plays into me being a journalist in some regards. Is that when you listen to somebody's view, you have to let them have let them have a view and have an opinion, whether it's a measured one or not, or one that is backed up by facts. That's then your time to respond after they've given their view. You've got to, take for example COVID-19. Is that a lot of people, a lot of people are anti-COVID, anti-vaccine, say it's all a hoax, and they do my absolute nutting, because the evidence is overwhelming. You can't refute anymore that it's not a thing, when it clearly is. It's killed nearly 500,000 people around the world. I don't know what the accurate numbers are. And it's affected a lot of people, and it's real. If you don't think it's real, but by now, then clearly that's on you. That really is on you. But that's for us to agree or disagree. But also you have to remind them of the positives of the side. Like for example, I was that there was a TV advert that went around on British channels, encouraging people to take the vaccine, and I shared that on social media, and somebody just decided to say, oh, but the vaccine does this, the vaccine does that. I'm just like, it's not worth it. Like clearly you're out to bait me, and I'm somebody who doesn't get baited quite a lot. But as Hillary, you sort of said about doing your research, I say a lot of nice things on Twitter and on social media. If they're not nice things, I just rant on about football and wrestling. That's mainly what I do. That's how I go about my day, because it's harmless and it's fun. I say it's fun to be a Luton Town soccer fan, but we have our ups and downs. But yeah, spread again. It goes back to what I said earlier: spread love, not hate. And if you're going to get too sucked into an argument when you know that you can present the evidence to suggest otherwise, that's then for the person to agree or disagree. But at least you can say, well, here's the evidence. If you think one way, well, I present what I know, and you either can educate me on what you know, or you can agree or disagree with what you feel. So.
Good. Okay. Well, that's encouraging for all of us too, because it just takes a lot of extra energy to give other people space. One thing
I just want to say quickly as well. I think it's important we recognise that we've come a long way to get where we are now. Post-truth, certainly 5 years ago, led to that orange bloke to become the 44th president of the United States. Let's not remember about how emotion became more important than facts, and let's remember that actually we need to come to an agreement that we need to acknowledge the facts before we start believing our own emotion as though it was, 100% correct when it is just not.
Right, because
It's a dangerous thing, but we need to stay on top of that. We need to kick and call out fake news, and we need to call out where emotion is clearly masking over the facts.
I think the more that the general population, the general layman that's not a journalist, can understand that each of us has a worldview, even when things are written, posts are made, there's always some sort of worldview in that writing. And so to just recognize that we're all going to be biased. I have biases that I know about. I have biases that I don't know about. And so to just recognize that, giving people the tools to be able to notice, is that someone's feelings coming up, or is that the facts being presented, or a mixture of both? I think that will help. And I think that I think that's what Google and Facebook and a lot of other big media platforms are really having to deal with. How much of that responsibility falls on them for what they're allowed.
Yeah, that's one thing I haven't really understood about America is that the way that Facebook has such a huge influence on news. When last time I checked, Facebook was a place for put nice pictures up and funny memes. Like, can we go back to what it used to be used for? Like seeing all the family photos and the holiday photos and look what I made today, sort of thing. Like that was a better Facebook, wasn't it?
That's true. That's true.
Just it's simpler times.
How do you keep up with the news? We do have a lot of people that go to Facebook for their news. Sometimes I'll check Google News. We get, certain news outlets get known for being more conservative or more liberal. That's not always the case, but I find it challenging to keep up with both local and global news in a way that I feel like I'm getting well-rounded news feed. How do you like to keep up with the news?
You just got to keep on top of it. You've got to understand what's important to me and what's not important to me.
Okay.
Understanding that. Okay, so let's break it down further. It's about having a collection of about 4 or 5 news sources.
Okay.
Let's say that one of them is not Fox. That both are saying the same thing, but giving different opinions and articles on that. If you're reading 2 or 3 publications and they're saying the same thing, then you're in a good place. That isn't a boring repetition, but they're saying the right things. That's the right sort of news you should be engaging with, right? And it's sort of similar locally. Is that if you've got to support your local press and your local journalists, because as somebody who's studied commercial journalism in the United States on a local level, it's a dangerous world out there. There's a lot of powerful people. Bob Murray is one. I won't go too further into that. Last Week Tonight is a great source for news. Like their investigations and their analysis of the world is such a helpful tool to understand what's going on, especially in places where you may not understand what the full story is. I urge everyone to go check out their YouTube channel and 11 p.m. Eastern on HBO. It's just an amazing show. And also I just think you've just got to think about what's important to you and the news that you need to understand, and don't worry about everything else. There is so much news out there that we just do not have time to consume all. And quite frankly, some of it I can live without not knowing. Kim Kardashian, Cardi B, or Nicki Minaj, I don't care. Unless they're doing something that interests me, I just don't have an interest. And that's just me. Liam Leprechaun just said a good point. CNBC is a great source. CNN is a great source. But MSNBC and all the other providers, they're good sources. And if they're saying the similar sort of things, then that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. That you're getting different views and different opinions on the same story. and we need to also remember that it should be a free press as well. Is that every journalist is entitled to their own calculated and considered opinion, as everybody else does. So, support journalism, but also support free press.
Do you have anything to add on how you decide where to get news and keep informed?
No, I think it's pretty well covered at this point. He listed all the places that I find my news anyways, so like for me it's
What I guess ultimately how did you guys understand the election in November?
Yeah.
That was difficult.
Because what you found with different outlets is that they were declaring different numbers, saying different things, and I think I went with CNN because ultimately you're looking at all the different numbers and all the different the different calculations and projections. Ultimately, the vast majority of America and the world takes by what CNN declares and what CNN projects. Thankfully, it was Joe Biden, but it's about understanding the numbers, understanding the process and the analysis. But actually, when it boils down to it, I think CNN is one of the best news sources in America.
There was a third-party news source that pretty much seemed to have the lead on everything. Like, before CNN got a break on it, they knew what was happening, and it was already there. So that was something that was really nice. That is, if you were clicking refresh pretty much everywhere, you got information. It felt like ahead of time. It felt like you were sneaking in information. And so that was something that was really nice, is having the option for those smaller ones to get in there and get that information, and still be able to find it, of course, and stuff like that. So there were several, but there was one that like was the majority of the time. I can't recall it now. Feels like that was ages ago.
That's strange.
Yeah,
I had that feeling too.
It was so stressful. I think we're all like, oh, thank God, I'm just gonna let it move on now.
Yeah.
So yeah. There was another question that was something revolving that, and I can't. But you go ahead.
Okay.
You have the list, anyways.
Well, if you think of it, let's come back to it.
Yes.
Because I would love to talk about work-life balance. Ellie tells me that you are engaged, so congratulations.
I am.
Oh,
don't congratulate me. When you've been engaged for like 2 years and you're sort of thinking, yeah, it doesn't feel like an engagement, like if that makes sense. Like I think a lot of people sort of get engaged and think, right, let's jump at the chance, let's do it. And if you got the money, do it. But it's not as simple as that. Sometimes taking your time is worth it. And if that means it happens next year or year after, then that's what it means. If that means 5-10 years, then that's what it means. So it's great to be engaged and to know that I found the woman in my life that satisfies me and sort of cares for me in a way that nobody else ever has before. But on the other hand, like weddings, they're expensive, huh? They're a lot to plan.
Yeah.
They're a lot.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
Do you feel as over here there is still a societal and family pressure, or pressure from family to have a wedding, have a celebration? What's it called when you just elope? Elopements here, they're accepted for sure, but there is still this expectation from people that you're going to have some sort of reception afterward, some sort of gathering, which usually equals dollars. Do you have that in England as well, this expectation? Oh no.
Say that's pressure, though, because like weddings are fun, right? Like receptions are fun. Like you're meant to just.
As an antisocial human being,
time.
I cannot agree.
Like it's I wouldn't say it's pressure at all. I think it's a part of the experience. It's like a birthday party, okay?
Okay.
Like there's no expectation to have a massive party, or there's no expectation that to invite all the friends you know. But when you get people together in a room and you have a good time, especially at weddings where you're bringing together family members and friends that you don't really get a chance to get together in one place at one time. So that's actually quite nice. And I think post-COVID, it will be quite a relief, quite a acknowledgement that we get to be together again, and Zoom isn't a thing anymore. So do you know it's I think there'll be a different appreciation of that. But I do see what you're saying in that certainly during this lockdown, I've known people who have decided to get married under restrictions. I think in the UK you can have up to like 15 guests at a wedding and have like a very, very small reception. To which I've said, well, just wait. Like I don't like all you're achieving is the legal bit of the marriage, whereas actually it's about celebrating that, and you can't really like it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. But yeah, it's part of the party, and I think when it does get planned, and we can afford it, and we can say, right, this is the time to do it. The invites will be in the post, guys. I'd love to get you guys over to the UK.
Oh, that is so kind. Wow.
That is very kind.
That's one of my favorite things about Twitch is that we have met just some lovely people.
That's so true.
Across the world.
All over the world.
Leprechaun just hit the nail on the head. It's a celebration of love. And there's no better thing to do in a time where we need to be kind and be better people is just celebrate the love between two people and how two people can bring a whole community together. That's essentially it.
Aw, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think what Hillary was getting at is over here there's so many like every family member wants their piece involved. Like they want a hand in it and in planning it. And then it becomes less, it feels like about you and your partner, and it feels like it becomes more about following these traditions and these standards. And I think that's where it comes a lot of the pressure, you know. It's not as much societal, it's family. It's close loved ones that have this innate need to be involved. Dennis, who we know is married, he has a very successful relationship, I would say. He said, if I was going to get married, it would be during COVID, so only a select few could come. That's interesting. So it would be cheaper.
I find that it would be cheap, but like there'd be times where I think if I was to get married now and like sort of, I'd look back on the photo album and think, if only that they were there, if only I could. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
You got to make the most of the moment, and if that, hey, for some people it works, but for me, I like to bring people together. I like to have a good time, and I have a lot of people who I'd like to see in the same room.
Yes.
So yeah, and hopefully it'll be soon though.
Yeah. And my beloved grandma, she told me once, her favorite weddings are the ones that are customized to the couple. And I feel like that is a reflection of you and your fiance, that you want to share it with the people you love. And that is part of why you're doing it. And so I think that I'm just so proud that you guys have made the decision to wait until you can live out that dream. That's really cool.
Exactly what you guys want.
Yes. And so then I think that's hard when the family starts making it the pressure to change your dream.
Yeah, to theirs.
Yeah.
As a female grandmothers and mothers, oh my God. Like, they just want to be so heavily involved. It is ridiculous. So, and I hope...
Isn't that fun, though? Like, I know we've sort of said about how bad it is, but it's Game of Thrones-esque. Like, I can see where George R. Martin wrote about, the Bannisters and the other guys, is that it's very political, and when it's small scale within families, it's brilliant. It's great gossip. It's great sort of tension when you see them come together, and you just want to sit back with a bowl of popcorn and go, let battle commence.
I feel so bad for your fiance, because you're gonna be sitting there just watching them duke it out. You're like, yeah, you bring up that thing that happened 3 years ago.
Go on, let's see an argument from a drunk guy at 2 a.m. I'm here for this. This is a wedding.
Oh my goodness.
You can tell UK weddings are very different to US weddings.
Dennis said most of the people were there for his open bar. That was what most of the people were at his wedding for. There you go. You know, that for some reason doesn't really surprise me, but you know.
So how did you meet your fiance?
We met at university through Tinder, but she was studying criminology at the time,
Uh-huh.
and obviously I was in the first year of my degree, um, and we sort of fell in love quite quickly. I mean, so going back to my autism earlier on, is that I knew I had to find somebody who not only could I love and be passionate about, but also somebody who I knew could understand me for who I am and for my good days and bad. And she just didn't care. It was beautiful. It was, the moment that I told her about my disability, she was like, "Okay, that's cool. I can help you out and support you." And we will be together 4 years in March. And every day I count my blessings that I found her and I've fallen in love with her. And she's one of a kind, but she's my one of a kind.
Oh.
Um, and it's funny. We were meant to have gotten involved with Liam's speed dating at the weekend, but for sort of family reasons we had to pull out. But I'd like to think that me and Abby are sort of role models in a sense of how relationships should be done. Because you see him go from have this wild lifestyle, but you know that there is one woman waiting for him who can have a similar relationship and really settle down with. You'd love to see it, but I think it's when you find the one, you hang on to them for as long as you can.
I think you guys do. I know very little, obviously, but I think you guys do have a great relationship. It seems like you're very open, and I think that is just fantastic to see. So yeah, kudos to you guys.
Mm-hmm. How did you said that you fell in love quite quickly? How did you walk that road, that difficult line of going from maybe more of a lighthearted or just lighter connection, attraction, and moving on into a next step of more serious before you were engaged, kind of like in the dating spectrum. How did you bridge that going from casual to more serious?
It's an interesting one because it never really was light, but it never really was serious. It was just we went on a date
Mm-hmm.
on the 23rd of March 2017,
Wow,
and
wow.
from then on we just decided to hang out on a regular basis and do things together. And before we knew it, it was 3 months, then 6 months, then nine, and 12, and then it's just been one love filled roller coaster. And um, I'll tell you another thing, and Ali, this will be interesting to you. We didn't have sex together till about month 7.
Uh-huh.
We really waited. Well, she made me wait and made me tame my sexual energy that I had, but that made me appreciate not only sex a lot more, but also being intimate and appreciating love in a different way. She really tamed the beast and tamed the wildness inside of me and made me appreciate again, not only simple things, but actually, love is a deeper thing than just having sex with as many people as you can. It's a quality, not quantity thing.
Mm-hmm. Aw, well, I'm so happy to hear that, and I love that it just was able to progress very, very naturally and smoothly. Another question I had was I wanted to ask you about gaming because we do game here occasionally. I am the noobest noob.
We have a little segment called Noob Gaming where I teach Hillary how to play some video games.
But
so.
Ellie is not, so she can probably run with you a lot farther on, types of games. Do you have we love hearing what consoles you started out on. So maybe you could start there. If you hate gaming, you can tell us that now,
Growing up with an older brother,
Ah.
we loved gaming. That we for as long as I've been alive, I've been playing computer games. Just even now on my Microsoft account, I'm getting close to 100,000 achievement points, and that's over about 11 years worth of gaming. Just it's one of those things that you'll get it for people like me, and certainly going forward is that the older you get, the less you get time to game.
That is true.
It's very much a youthful thing, but I've been lucky enough that I've been the generation where we've seen some amazing video games being produced and continue to be produced, like Grand Theft Auto 5. Is one of the best masterpieces ever produced, both graphically, narratively, but also for what it represents of society at the time and still does now. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare series is almost a UK schoolboy's rite of passage. If you haven't played No Russian or Modern Warfare 2, did you really have a correct childhood? The answer's no. There's games like that will stay with you, and maybe in 10, 15 years time, if I was to have kids of my own, you can go, this is what I used to play. Now you can enjoy it. It's interesting, but gaming today is a different beast to what it is now. I mean, you see, a lot more games that are going digital. We now have digital editions of the PS5 and the Series X. We have Steam. We have Twitch. We have gaming communities who are specifically interested in one game. We have esports, unfortunately, but we have esports where we see.
I love the unfortunately.
Ridiculous, but it is, isn't it? Like, you see these elite athletes get paid like 1.5, 2 million to play Fortnite or League of Legends or whatever, when ultimately we just want, can we have a bummer league? Like, just for us, like normal people, where we can be like bad, but we can all have a laugh and say, that was fun. That's what we do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
But like being a part of Liam's Saturday series, playing Rocket League. I'm not the best Rocket League player, far from it. During the tournament, we came up with some of the guys who've played on a more professional level. But the fun of it is that the way that ZRVK's Saturday Series tournaments works is that you get lumped together and it's a level playing field, and get games like that where you get to mix with some professional people and get handed to quite nicely or cause an upset. It's quite cool and quite fun. We just need that. That's the sort of thing that needs to be broadcast on air, not just a guy winning 500 odd games of FIFA in a row or Football Manager or what have you, because it's boring. Nobody wants to see it. It's just I don't understand esports and the whole appeal of it. It's just it's too elitist, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting, too elitist. Huh.
Like, you have to be so good to be
Yeah.
able to be an esports person. Whereas, like, I'm trying to find a quick comparison. It's like I'm trying to think what the league down is from the NFL. It's like comparing the World Series to minor league baseball. Is that the
Right.
minor leagues may not be as well promoted or as well covered, but sometimes minor league games are way more fun to watch than the World Series.
Yeah.
It's that connection, or even little league baseball. Like there's
Never
nothing better to
enjoyed
do than
watching
to watch
Little League
grassroots level sport than to watch the world class athletes perform.
Yeah. We definitely saw that in the Super Bowl this year, that the games leading up to the Super Bowl might have been more enjoyable than the Super Bowl itself.
Yep, definitely.
I mean,
big...
Patrick Mahomes just did not turn up. He just did not show up.
Neither did their defense, which I preached that the Buccaneers defense was going to kick the shit out of Kansas and give Mahomes a trouble. I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Wasn't it embarrassing that both the Weeknd and the streaker on the field got more yards than any of the Kansas City Chiefs managed to do inside an hour of gameplay?
Yeah,
I mean, that's embarrassing, but true.
That was crazy. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm an underdog person. I hate anybody who just wins all the fucking time. I can't stand it. I appreciate him as an athlete. Do not get me wrong. And as a great human being. He is a good human being. But I can't stand it. And so from him going from one dynasty to just pretty much create his own somewhere else, I was so pissed off. I can't even describe it. Oh, it was horrific. It was horrific. And that was the biggest...
I love the way I sit here wearing my New York Giants jersey, a team that are amazingly average. Is that
Losers.
we have had terrible season after terrible season.
Aw.
We got very close to sneaking into the playoffs this year. But we'll have our day.
I mean,
Don't know when it
that's
will
the thing
be.
is, in theory, most of the time, every year when you guys start, if your players can stay healthy, you normally have a great group. But your great players always seem to end up injured.
Aw.
Every time.
But there's nothing more depressing than waking up every Monday morning in the UK seeing that another loss has been added to the column. Like that's just the unfortunate reality of being a New York Giants fan. Like the start of the season goes terribly, and then the end of the season it picks up, and we just about sneak into the contention where it should be the other way around. It's ridiculous, but
I can
go
understand
Giants,
that.
folks. Go Giants.
I'm a Boston Celtics fan, so when it comes to
Yeah.
basketball, I know what it feels like for like being close but never quite there.
Yeah.
And as much as they are the team with the most, championships and stuff, in my lifetime they really aren't. So
You just can't compete with LeBron and LA. You just cannot compete with them.
and Golden State, I mean,
Mm.
anywhere LeBron is, it's hard. It's competition. But when you look at Golden State, you're like, holy shit! How do they keep doing it? How do they keep doing it? I have 2-year veterans who barely played enough, really, who are just leading my team. And Golden State's like, yeah, we got 5 guys who are all, they're either Defensive Man of the Year, MVP, what? And I'm like, what the fuck? Where is our cap space? Where is it going? Like, it gets me every time. It gets me every time. I think it's the weather. Nobody wants to go play in Boston.
This is why I love professional wrestling. I suppose I don't know if you had that listed on your notes. Is that the reason I love professional wrestling is that you in pro sports you've got these dynasties that will make it boring for everybody else to watch. Whereas watching wrestling on a weekly basis is that you never know what's going to happen next. Like you may think you know what's going to happen next, but they'll absolutely fuck with your head and change it and go in a different direction. And it's silly. People call it fake, but it's at the end of the day, it's fucking entertaining. I love it. It's addictive, and you never know what's going to happen. Like it's like a series of Dallas. People know it's fake, but they're still tuned in to see who shot JR. It's
Yeah.
it's the entertainment. And at a time like this, it's the escapism that we all need just
there
to
it
watch
is.
some useless bollocks unfold and some amazing stories to be told.
I'm not a big, wrestling fan, so I can't, relate on that one. But the
I know
escapism
you
is real.
disappoint me. You disappoint me. But we'll
Okay.
educate you soon enough. It's fine.
Okay. The escapism is real though. Watching these people who train for this, who work for this, and understanding so much about them, and a lot of the time you get so much background about each individual or each athlete. It's so nice to dive into that world, and to not have to think about the one we're in for a little bit. And it's a very healthy realm of escapism, so long as it's in moderation. But
Yeah.
Dennis can relate. He's been a Browns fan his entire life. Finally made the playoffs after 19 years. So I think we all have one of those teams.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed you guys are hanging in there with your teams when they're not doing well, because we got to see firsthand the rise of the Seattle Seahawks
Oh
fans.
my goodness, yeah.
That they came out of the woodwork when in 2000. I was just looking that up, but was it 2006 the first time? Was it
2015, 2016 was the
Was the
Marshawn
two-
Lynch, I'm only doing this so I don't get fined era of the NFL. What a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And
I'm here so I don't get fined. Here's some
Yeah.
Skittles. Like, calling it good. Yeah, that was after they had already been to the Super Bowl a couple of times. They were already popular. I mean, they start, like, for us, it really started, they got on their track in, like, 2008, and they got on a grind until, like, 2013, a little bit of fade, then they got back into it, and we really saw, like, everyone go from being like, oh, we don't really watch football around here, to, we are diehard Seattle Seahawks fans. And we're all like, what the
nothing
fuck?
worse. Nothing worse. There is a group of people in society who could arguably be the COVID-19 of human beings. being a plastic fan is on that list, I'm afraid.
Being a
pretending that
bandwagoner.
you back to support a football team just as a sudden when they're getting good again is not. I'm not doing it, I'm afraid. Like, if you're either going to be a fan or you're not, and if you're going to pretend to be a fan, please leave.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time for it.
Be a diehard or leave, because you're either a diehard or a bandwagoner, and you're gonna leave anyways because they're not gonna stay good forever. So
Exactly.
get out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was really bad, and in Washington, like, then everywhere started selling like Seahawks merch and stuff like that. Like, literally, our tiny grocery store would have huge racks of Seahawks merch. It was ridiculous. And we're gonna have that with the Kraken too. So Seattle just got a hockey team.
Yeah.
And they're actually supposed to be decent. I haven't seen who they're supposed to be.
Decent. I love that. Supposed to be. It's like the Sounders as well in the soccer team. Like, they're supposed to be all right, whether they do or not. You got to be a proper fan to find out, don't you?
You gotta actually appreciate it. I do miss when we had a basketball team in Seattle, though. I miss that. So now we have to go down to Portland for basketball games. So, but I do miss that. But I know that's exactly what's gonna, like, there's already, like, when I was flying in and out of Chicago, there was just Kraken merch everywhere. I was like, they don't even have a team! What are we doing? We don't have a roster! What are we doing?
I will say this as well. Kean is still in chat, and being from an Irish background, I love Gaelic games and Gaelic football and hurling, and it's one of the world's biggest amateur sports continually going. It's one of the fastest. Hurling is one of the fastest grass sports known to human beings, and the way that we see, our Irish counties come together from April to September. And we're not talking about athletes here. We're talking about teachers. We're talking about bankers, builders, labourers, individuals who are as human as you and me. Go and compete and represent your county on a weekly basis. There's no greater feeling than following that and supporting that, because it's a collective effort. It's not just about getting paid however much a year to perform. Actually, it's about Monday to Friday they're teaching our children, or they're doing their day-to-day job. At the weekend, they're representing their county in front of 45, 50, 60,000 people. And
Wow.
it's a great sport to look up and to watch. Certainly, that's for sure. And it's slowly but surely getting the global recognition it finally deserves. So, that's my other passion, I guess.
Okay. Big sports fan, which I appreciate the heck out of, honestly, because I can talk sports and athletics for hours, so I'm always down for that. Before we get into that, if that's what we're doing, do you have any other questions that might
Would love to talk a little bit more about radio.
Okay.
Reporting, and we do need to touch on the shots of vinegar. So
we can skip that for now, because I don't want to throw up.
Shots of vinegar. That's Liam's stream. That's not me.
Yeah.
I would never be that stupid.
Well, that's all we need to say is it was Liam's stream. I just wanted to know that was it apple cider vinegar, or are we talking straight white vinegar?
I'm pretty sure it was white vinegar.
I believe Liam drinks malt vinegar. You can ask Kean in chat. I'm pretty sure that's how manic he is. But Wager Wednesdays over on ZRVK. It's mental. It
is apple cider.
You could be having the worst. Oh, Leprechaun says it's apple cider vinegar. Okay.
That would help, because I have done that.
We have done shots of apple cider vinegar.
It takes a while to get used to.
It's hard. It's hard.
It does have that little bit of kick, like I'm drinking something like a strong drink, which I kind of like.
Do you remember that, like, we called it the illness shot? Or the COVID shot, and it had, like, cayenne pepper in it, and then it had honey and stuff, and it was, like, if we were ever congested, the girl we worked with would feed us those.
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was like what are those called?
That was...
Yeah, fire cider.
Fire cider.
And it's non-alcoholic, other than there is, like, traces of alcohol, I think.
In apple cider vinegar, I think.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit?
Yeah.
Due to fermentation. Anyway, yes, it's healthy to drink every morning. I've known people in their 80s that swore by it, and they would drink a small shot every day.
It makes me want to be sick.
I'm not going to knock it, but yes, it's strong. Woo! And I'm of the mind I'd rather take it just straight, because every time I add water to it, then it's just that many more sips of the stuff, and but yeah.
Yeah, thinking of it.
Well, we covered that very nicely. Thank you. Moving on from shots of vinegar.
Yes.
So when you got to university and started at you said the radio lab was where you started. Was that your first time being on the radio, or did you have any other?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was my first chance to really sort of, I think, experiment to begin with, because, you know, when you're given a live microphone and you sort of learn as you go, it is that sort of nervous as okay, let's play some music and let's talk to people, let's see where we can do it. And I think for me, I picked it up rather quickly, because I think in the first couple of months I went from just getting a couple of mates on that I like to chat on each week and talking about whatever they do within university to, here's the associate editor of the Daily Mail newspaper. Here's a comedian is about to go on tour, but he's playing a warm up gig in my hometown. And before I knew it, I was building up big name after big name after big name, and it's nuts. But every time I sort of get approached or get asked if I want to do it, I think I'm doing something right here. This is nuts. Like I how have I got this far? I'm still doing what I love, and it's sort of grown into its own thing.
Okay. Wow. So then from there, now on your bio, it also says you work at, now I'm hoping I'm going to say MKFM.
MKFM, Milton Keynes FM, is it's about 10-20 miles outside of Luton. So I'm doing online reporting for them at the moment, which I started a couple of weeks ago, and reporting on news in the Buckinghamshire area. It's not Shire, it's Shire, and it's a foot in the door within the industry, because it's all well and good to have all the experience in the world and have the qualifications which I've got over the years. But the first time you get that foot in the door, you're off to the races. That's the first opportunity to show what you can do, and it's for realsies now. It's not internship, it's not shadow. This is a paid job, and hopefully in the next year or two I can start to make ground on local national radio and go from there, really.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's exciting.
That is exciting. Wow.
So, this is a very, very, very baby question, but when I think of radio and radio hosts, I often think of DJs, and I think of people who are, kind of like a commentator on the music, but also just segueing us through from one song to the next. The radio that you're participating in is definitely coming from, it seems like it's coming from the reporting angle and not...
Like talk radio, like an NPR kind of thing.
Yes. Can you help me explain a little bit about the differences there?
One of my radio heroes is Howard Stern. The way that he presents, the way that he brings guests in, and the way that he broadcasts to a nation, and he's one of the best at it in the world, is sort of how I model myself in. And so I like to think that I do bring in interesting conversations in, because my unique selling point with any sort of guest, whether it be a celebrity or not, or whether they've got a blue tick on Twitter, is that, you can promote your new book, your new TV show, and encourage people to watch it. That's fine, but you can go to other places to see those kind of interviews. You can watch Ellen every day and watch them kind of interviews. Or you can just tune into me, find out about how they got to where they are, what sort of things they had to do, the quirks of what they do, and have a more well-rounded approach and understanding about the people that you chat to. So for me, that's the crux of it. And I think, certainly the feedback I've had is that's a far more engaging and understanding interview than just plug, buy my book, plug. Oh, yeah. What am I doing? Oh, here's my sponsored deal with Subway. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't get, I just don't. I think there's a place for that, but you need to also balance that out with genuine, interesting people and a thorough, curious conversation, because at the end of the day, that makes for better radio, right? If the conversation's natural and develops naturally, as I guess this wonderful conversation is, it's far more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to watch just a little bit of your interview of the artist. I believe her first name was River. Is that right, or last name? Is that ring? Maybe I'm remembering her name wrong. But she played the guitar, and she brought on the guy that was with her played the guitar, and she sang, and you got to kind of interview. And this is, I think, from 2 years ago on. Was this?
Oh, are you referring to? Is it Phoebe Aston you're on about?
That could be right.
Might
Maybe
be
the
somebody
song
else.
was River. I'm trying to think of why, why, why I have River on my mind. But I just loved how you were able to, let her showcase her music and then ask her questions, and it just made for a really, I don't know, a very nice interview.
We live in a world where the music industry has never been more populated, more saturated, and more dangerous than ever. Like if you're an up and coming artist, you have to do everything, and I mean everything: produce, edit, promote, market your song till you bleed Monday to Friday morning, noon, and night to listen to your song. Spotify and Apple Music and music can only go so far in giving you that platform.
True.
Like it still doesn't make you too much money, does it? It's just a platform to listen to your music. It's us as local radio hosts and DJs to go, okay, let's have you on our show. Let's give you the platform to say, you know what, these are the kind of guys you kind of need to listen to. You heard about Lucy Mayer, was it? You were referring to. There's so many interviews I've done over the years.
I think that might have been it. That does sound much more familiar. It was
She was singing a song. Was it "Being Pretty Was Fun"? She sang on my show. And what I loved about Lucy is that I think she was a local girl. She's in with the right people, but not enough people are listening to her.
Wow.
And if I can give her a platform for only 20 minutes, half an hour, to get more people to listen to her, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's my bit to help her out. And I've said all along in this chat with you guys is that it's about human connection and human interaction. If you can do what you can to help each other out, then just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And for me as a radio host to give a platform to other people, especially unsigned artists, I'll do it.
So you mentioned that it's Sheer, not Shire. So if I say Worcestershire, is that
Worcestershire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire. That's how you say it. It's not Shire. You Americans do not know the English language. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to. We've been talking a little bit about books, so I do want to segue into books. But before we go to there, is there anything else about especially your radio journalism or just journalism that you'd like to share with us before we change topics again?
I think that sort of it covers all of it, doesn't it? I think I'm one of those people. I like. Let's not forget. I'm still at a very early point in my career. I'm still only 23. A lot of people have said I've achieved a lot in my small career, but ultimately, the last 5-6 years, I've just been chasing my dream and been running non-stop.
Yeah.
And there's been times, especially over Christmas this year, and especially during lockdown, throughout, is that I've taken moments to pause and realize, oh my God, how have I got this far? And how have I reached this point? Because I've got, when people tell me I've gotten to a certain point before they've even had, or before the point they were at their age that they were, is nuts. But it'll pay off. Like, I'm following my dream. I'm doing what I love, and I'm at a point where I know for a fact that the opportunity is coming. Like, I know the phone call will come at some point very soon where it'll go, right, I'm so and so from the BBC, do you want to come in and do a job and do some shifts, and before I know it, I'll have a contract. So I'm at that cusp at the moment. it's long, but you got to be patient. But the opportunity is there.
Yeah. No,
That is true.
that's just a testament to all your hard work. So good job, and I hope you just continue to keep that motivation because that's awesome.
Books.
Yes.
So we're
Yes.
starting a book club, the Broad Discussions book club. So broad, lots of different books and stuff like that. That'll be starting in March. We're gonna have a list of books that we want everyone to choose from, of course, and stuff like that. I don't know why it didn't like that. It didn't like
I've
that
done
command.
that before, but I tried it. I always feel like, oh, this time it'll work. Hillary.
I'd love to recommend a book.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you guys have read it before, but it's one of my all-time favorite books to read.
Yes.
It's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon.
I have not read that.
Honestly, it's one of those books where it captures me in a nutshell. Like, it talks about autism. It talks about a very basic story.
Oh, I think I have read this one.
And it's been gone on to the West End here in London. Don't be surprised to see it in Broadway very soon, post COVID. But it's just a fantastic read. You can lose yourself in it quite quickly, and it's those kind of books where if you get, the more you sucked into a book, the better the book is.
I have read this book. Oh, that was a very good book. Okay, so yeah, and it was like addicting because at first you're like, there's no way that's just how this story is gonna go, right? Like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously, but you're just like, there's no way that it's just gonna start out that blunt and stay like what? Like how? Yeah. Okay, so that was a really good book. I loved that book. I think I read it when I was like 13, probably really too young for that book in reality.
Yeah. But then that inspires you, right? Like the more books you read as a teenager, like the better it is. Mallory Blackman, the Noughts and Crosses series, is another one I recommend. Is
that one I don't
recognize. You read it when you're growing up. Certainly as I did in school, talking about a dystopia where the people of color are the ruling class, and people who are Caucasian are the opposite, and it's just been turned into a series on the BBC, and I actually want to go to sort of seek it out because it's one of those books where it's a love story, it's a reflection on politics, it's a tragedy, it's just an amazing series of books, and Mary Blackman has been heralded over the years as one of the best Black British authors of all time.
Wow.
And the pieces of work speaks for themselves. I'm hoping Kian is still in the chat and he's read it, because when you read it in high school, it's a defining book that makes you realize of the world around you. That's how good of a book it is.
It's an eye opener kind of thing.
Nope, I hadn't heard of that one.
I haven't heard of that one.
I'm fine.
But yeah.
Did you ever read The Four Agreements?
No.
I can't think of the author's name, but I can get that. I'm gonna put your Noughts and Crosses in chat. There we go. It's a book. It's a book that kind of just takes an overview of life and putting the same importance on love as you do. What 4 things can we do to kind of move through life with less resistance and less.
Didn't you give me this book?
Yes.
Yeah, you gave it to me for Christmas, and I read it on the plane. My next trip.
What did you think?
I really some of it felt like, yes, this is basic knowledge, but some of it was like, no, this is basic knowledge, but the focus on it needs to be higher and greater. And I was like, that's good. That's a good point. And a lot of it has to do with to me, it spoke to awareness and how do I can't even put it into words. It feels like just self-introspection a lot, and
good.
Which is one of my favorite things to talk about, because we went over several times self-introspection tools and all of these things that you can do to be more aware of yourself and how you operate, why you operate that way, and stuff like that. And this book just kind of screamed that even more at me, and I really appreciated it. So there are going to be self-help books too, mental health books and stuff like that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of really great pieces in that book that you gave me.
So the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, and then he goes ahead and describes what impeccable means. Miguel Ruiz is the author. Don't take anything personally. Such great, so easy to say, so hard to do. Don't make assumptions. And the last one, always do your best. And then talks about how the great mental health tie-in right there. Your best varies from day to day. So if, doing my best meant I was functioning at 100% yesterday, well, today I might wake up and doing my best might mean functioning at 40%, and that was my best for the day.
And your best may be in different areas, too. Ooh. Doing your best in, working on your mental health, or, stepping away from socials maybe and working on, professionalism and stuff. Yeah. It is a great book. It's
so
just
great you read it. I mean, a lot. Aww.
Yeah. Oh, I read it. I mean, I had a 4-hour plane ride, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish this. I need another one.
Luke, did you
There's nothing better than being on a flight or being on a long journey and just getting through a very good book.
Right.
Or a good podcast and just drinking it all in.
And I never want to go back to full planes. Like, there are pieces of COVID I never want to leave. Like, I want everyone to stay 6 feet away from me. That's another thing. Like, stay away from me still. But I also, I love not having a full plane. Like, I love either having, a seat between me and my aisle mate, or just having an entire aisle to myself. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to packed planes. So, yeah, there are a lot of things.
Yeah, but you got to have the window seat, right? You got to go for the window seat as much as possible, because those are the best seats in
I
life.
do go for the window seat, even though I'm afraid of heights. And it's because the window seat actually helps me with the height thing. As much as that probably doesn't make sense, taking off and landing, watching it, for some reason helps. I can't look out the window during, because I will not be okay. But taking off and landing, being able to watch that, for some reason, it helps. I don't know why. So...
I'm just seeing, having a bird's eye view over somewhere. Certainly when I went on holiday to Tenerife a couple of years ago, just getting to see the Canary Islands and getting to see, mainland Europe from I think 20, 30, 40,000 feet, looking down is you don't get to do that a lot.
That's true.
so
That's true.
Drink it in. It's
if
a
I
nice
didn't,
feeling.
if I wasn't so terrified of heights, I'd probably for me, honestly, flying is not so bad. I'm not so anxious when flying. If I have to be on a roof, for some reason, it's much worse. I don't know why. So 20,000 feet is fine. 20 feet is not. So I don't know what that is.
It's time for a parachute one. It's not that we have a parachute.
Not that I was gonna say, not that we have those kind of preparedness.
Did you ever read The Giver, Luke?
No. I feel like this is where the Americanisms, where I've drowned you for an hour and a half of British things, this is where the American element of this interview comes in. I have not heard of The Giver,
okay,
no,
okay.
I'm afraid.
They made it into a movie, so it's been quite a few years back. But I'm trying to think of, I know there is, can you think of required reading material in school, that anything that you liked?
Well, I liked most things. I was I read a lot, in school and stuff, but the basics for our English classes, Of Mice and Men and stuff like that. Grapes of Wrath.
I did read Grapes of Wrath.
And Inspector Calls, To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
I mean, classics like that. I agree. I think what I find interesting about those kind of texts is it makes you wonder. Those kind of texts would not be produced in 2021.
Oh,
yes. There is a lot of society has changed. Our approach to who we are as humanity has changed, and I think we're a different planet than the one that was where books like Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men have been written, or even To Kill a Mockingbird. I think I can only begin to imagine the upheaval and the analysis of the text that even to this day that are discussed of To Kill a Mockingbird and what impact it was. I mean, obviously we've got the sequel now to Kill a Mockingbird, but it's interesting. It is. I don't think it'd be as impactful as considered as much of a classic if it was released today.
That's absolutely true. If it wasn't written by who it was written by, when it was written, which are huge things, obviously, huge impacts with it, they wouldn't have been such crucial classics that it felt like it had to be a part of our curriculum. And you know, there's a million others I can think. Lord of the Flies.
Oh yes.
You know, and half of these books, like you know, they're classics, so I'm like, yes, you should read them. I did not enjoy Lord of the Flies. I didn't really like Of Mice and Men, you know, and so like a lot of them, I was just like, yeah, I get like what the point of this is, but man, I'm really tired of reading these kinds of books, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
But then at the same time, it changes you as a human being. It makes you think it is
that is true.
molded who you are today.
That is true. That is very, very true. Yeah, there are dozens of books from our curriculum here that, you know, well, actually, some of them have been removed from the curriculum now for being, you know, some of them are inappropriate, obviously, or some of them, you know, bear no good, useful, you know, tactics or information from it. So, you know, there's been some shedding since we've been through it and stuff like that. So
that's a good point.
I would like to know what a current curriculum actually looks like.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something we'll talk about when we do our book stuff.
Well, that gives us a couple other great books to include in our. I think we're thinking about doing a little poll or survey to kind of just get a feel for what people would like to read in the book club. Yeah. So, do you find time? Do you make time for reading now on a weekly basis, Luke? Or do you?
It's one of those. It's like gaming, isn't it? Like I'd love to think I have time in my life to read books. Like, I've got a few autobiographies.
Oh.
To no surprise, I do love a good autobiography about politics and about sport. Certainly, Bob Woodward, his new book about Senor Trump is a great reflection on the last 4 years of his presidency. But yeah, I want to be a grown up. I want to be able to put book time in my life a lot more. But I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I'm at. I love it, and it does definitely bring up something. It causes my mind to work in a way that reading online or listening to podcasts doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's just
and the tactical feel of it. I don't. Some people read on like iPads and stuff. I have 3 bookshelves of books, so I love that feeling. I just finished The Splendid and the Vile for the second time, the one about Churchill. Remember when we went up to the lake and I had started it then and I finished it. Okay. Actually, when we were up there, I finished it.
Oh, The Splendid and the Vile.
Yeah. Oh, his audio was playing double. That's weird. Huh.
Let's check what we're...
Literally nothing has changed. That's what makes it weird. Literally nothing has changed.
And what did you think on your second time through?
I thought he was even better the second time.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll put that in chat for everyone.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. So yeah. Anyways, do we want to...
I'm not hearing double from us, and I'm not hearing anything from Luke at the moment, so
he has.
It's probably when I put my laptop on charge because I could see the battery just slowly getting low, and I was like, I better plug it in before this goes wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
That's
Thank
fair.
you, Dennis. Thanks for letting us know. If you hear it again, just please do let us know again.
Yeah,
we appreciate it so much. It sounds fine at the moment to me.
Are we looking for somebody to raid?
Sure, let's do it.
Oh, and raid said RVK. Go on, send the love back to him.
Aww.
You know you want to.
That's a great idea. Luke, is there any projects you have upcoming that you want to, anything that you want to shout out that we can help spread the word about? Where can people find you? First projects, then yes, tell.
They can find me at OneWalshMeister on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
They can find all of me there. There's a few things that I'm working on, namely towards the end of this year, which I won't give too much away.
Okay.
That I'm sort of, this is what I love about sort of the path that I'm taking. I'm sort of now that I've got university out of the way, I've got the opportunity to do things that I've always wanted to do. Like I'm getting involved with performing arts more. I'm getting involved with amateur dramatics locally. I'm sort of planning to write scripts and write more feature articles and again give more airtime to people who I care a lot about and who deserve to be heard. And ultimately, it's just a way for me to use my magic wand and to gift more joy into the world. That if you know, I
Using
now
your
have
power.
authority and power to do that. So it's a good feeling. But yeah, come follow me at OneWalshMeister and yeah, please.
If you want to drop any of your
come
other
say hi.
links in the chat, go right ahead. I've got your Instagram. I'm gonna get your Twitch.
This is what I love about my brand. All of my social medias are at OneWalshMeister, like my Twitter, my Facebook, my everything. There's no fussing around with spelling and everything else.
Great.
I like to keep it uniform.
Okay.
Perfect.
That is very helpful.
I am gonna break your heart. We are not gonna raid ZRVKK. We've done it so many times in the last couple of months that I feel bad. But Little Sparks, who's one of our all-time favorites, has been on the show several times, and she's streaming again. And it's been a while since she has. She had a lot going on, so we really want to support her. So that's where we are going to be headed here in a few minutes after we make sure to get you wherever you need to be.
Okay, there's the Twitch.
Yeah, I don't think he
Okay.
streams on Twitch.
So should we give the YouTube then?
Yes, the YouTube would be the
do
one.
Yeah, I don't stream on Twitch, but again, watch this space. I've one thing we didn't really talk about when we talked about Twitch earlier is that it's one thing to be a Twitch streamer at the moment. It's another thing to be good at it, and there is so much. Like I did a charity stream a few months ago for cancer research, and the amount of loopholes and things that I had to do in preparing for it was mental. I wasn't expecting to get involved with OBS and sort of audio and game capture and all of this, and
The technology.
it was one of those. Yeah. I mean, like I would never say never. Don't be surprised if 6 months' time I'm giving ZRVK a run for his money, deservedly a run for his money. But you know, it's an open avenue. I'm interested in the idea, and especially over the UK, we're starting to see radio hosts move over to Twitch and start doing their shows on this platform. So that there is a lot to be tapped into.
Yeah, there is. There are so many outlets too.
Found it. Yes. Okay, so there we go. So that our people can follow you. This has just been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for just being so candid with us and really giving us a great introduction to radio journalism. And
Yeah.
we've never had anyone.
Honestly, it's been a true honor and a privilege. When I get my money sorted, I'll be subbing immediately, buying your merch, and you guys are simply the best. More people need to be listening to you guys on a weekly basis. That is for sure.
Well, you've already done us a huge favor just being on our show, so thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate it so much.
So,
No problem.
everyone, we are heading over to Little Sparks. She, if you don't know her, she, had
If
to
you don't know her, you will now.
You will now. And she is amazing. You guys will absolutely love her. She's the kindest, sweetest, gentlest. Oh, I love her so much. She's so nice. So I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Yes.
And a good rest of your evening or day, wherever you may be.
Thanks to all the people in chat today. You guys are amazing. Oh, that was a half a heart. Well, let's make it a whole heart.
But we'll do the drawing, whatever.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you,
everybody.
Luke. Bye, guys.